Hello, scholars! Today, we're going to talk about another type of revolution that changed the world, the Industrial Revolution. Let's start with the word industry. Industry means to take raw materials like metal ores, cotton, wool, and sugarcane, and use machines to turn them into manufactured goods or things to sell. Industrialization is when the country builds capacity for industry. The first country to really industrialize was England, for a couple of reasons. First of all, they had some natural resources and infrastructure. They had water and coal to create power for the new machines. They had iron ore to construct machines, tools, and buildings. They had rivers to move the materials from city to city. And they had harbors to send the goods out and trade with other countries. England also had a large population of workers that could work in the factories. Finally, they had a good banking system, so people could get loans to invest in new machines and factories. The British government was stable, and their military was pretty successful. Overall, everyone in England was in a positive mood, and the economy was growing quickly. As the country continued to develop new inventions, one of them began to take over as the most important: railroads. Railroads revolutionized life in Britain. The invention and perfection of the locomotive had at least 4 major effects. First, railroads were a cheap way of transporting materials and finished products. Second was job growth. Not just railroad workers, but also the miners that dug for the iron to make the tracks and coal to fuel the engines. Third, railroads helped the farmers and the fishermen who could now transport their products to new markets before they went bad. And finally, railroads made travel easier. Some people began to commute to work, and others began to go on vacations, which helped create more jobs through tourism. So far, this all sounds pretty good, right? Well, there were some negatives to industrialization. First of all, working in a factory was not the best job ever. The machines were loud, dirty, and no one cared if you got hurt on the job. If you got hurt, you got fired. Often workers, including children, worked from sunrise to sunset, 12 to 14 hours a day. Mines were dangerous places to work. Factories hired many children because they were small and could get into tight spaces. They were quick, and you could pay children less than an adult. Imagine that for the past 5 years, you would have been working long hours in a factory or a mine, not sitting around at school or at home playing with your Snapchats and your TikToks. Secondly, machines burning coal are not the cleanest thing in the world. The air pollution was out of control. It coated the buildings with black and polluted the water with harmful chemicals. The factories created huge cities for the first time, and the infrastructure couldn't always keep up. Water, sewage, and housing were not built for families to cram in and live in tight spaces. Thirdly, industrialization widened the gap between the rich and the poor, especially on a national level. If you lived in an industrialized country like England or the United States, you looked down at the non-industrialized countries like India, China, and most of Africa. You were better than them, and you had the right to tell the poor dumb people what to do, like they were children. You could take their resources for your factories and then sell them the stuff you made. This was called imperialism, the policy of extending one country's rule over many lands. There were 4 main types of imperialism. Number 1, a colony. We are your government, and you are citizens of our country. Number 2, a protectorate. You have your own government, but we protect you like a parent, so you have to do what we say. Number 3, sphere of influence. You have your own government, but you can only talk, trade, and deal with us, like an overprotective boyfriend or girlfriend. If you cheat on us with anyone else, we'll smash your face in. And number 4, economic imperialism. You have your own government, but our companies have all the money. You do what our companies want because we have all the money. Imperialism was all about the rich having power and control to keep the poor countries poor and make the rich countries richer. Imperialism also helped to increase and spread racism. Since white people were the first to industrialize, they thought they were better than other countries and deserved to spread across the land and take whatever they wanted. For example, in the United States, this was called manifest destiny. The white settlers moved west to take over and push Native Americans off their land. In Africa, the white European imperialists divided societies and drew new borders that tore apart tribes and only benefited European interests. So, industrialization and imperialism. What do you think? Did the positives outweigh the negatives? Write your own opinion in the lesson provided. Please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe and stay creative.